Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Mohammed Sohail Khan. In this particular session, I will be talking about fundamentals of strategic management. So let's talk about the human resource management in general. So because of the fundamental nature of human resource management function should support the organization strategy. However, at the same time, human resource management function is responsible to represent and advocate for the employees. So in general, human resource management basically represents and advocates the employees. So that's the like common function that we have read and understand by the physical definition of human resource management. Sometimes it is easy to understand human resource management by changing its wordings from human resource management to managing human resources. So once we are talking about managing human resources, we are talking about that how the organization should manage its human resource, how organization should involve in terms of recruitment efforts, how organization should do staffing, recruitment, selection, training and development, career development, motivational aspects of it. What about the providing the work-life balance. So all those activities are basically involved in terms of managing human resource. So specifically, human resource management is also talks about the fundamental principle that we all know from our understanding of human resource management as a field. However, the second dimension, which is really important in terms of understanding the human resource management function, that it should support organization strategy. So what does this mean? It means that whatever strategy that is followed by the organization, human resource management function should support that strategy, or human resource management function should be aligned with organizational strategy. So strategic HRM as a whole provides a clear connection between the organization goals and the activities of employees. A key word in this particular strategic HRM would be alignment between the organizational strategy and alignment between the human resources strategy, at the same time representing and advocating the employees. But what does it means really, like in terms of practical applications? What does it means while working in the organization? What does it looks like? How the strategic human resource management should looks like? So for example, if we just take an example of Porter's framework of strategy, Porter basically talks about three fundamentals strategies. So he talks about either the organization is competing on cost leadership, or the organization is competing on differentiation strategy. Also, in few literature, there's also talk about focus on cost differentiation, or focus on cost leadership, or focus on differentiation. But at this time, for the purpose of this session, let's just take an example of two big strategical component of management literature. So for example, if we are talking about cost leadership, so it means that our organization is basically competing on the basis of cost. So once the organization is big, is competing on the cost, what is the implication for HR at that time? So the strategical alignment of HR should have in place in terms of structured job, in terms of departments to maximize cross training, knowledge sharing, designing compensation programs that reward efficiency, cost savings, employees with versatile skills. So what it looks like, or what the organization really wants once an organization is competing on the basis of cost. So it means the emphasis of an organization is become a low cost organization, or the cost leadership organization. So for example, they are streamlining their processes so that they can reduce the waste, so that they can maximize the efficiencies. So the couple of examples that we can have from the real world would be the Walmart or the Hyundai or the low-cost airlines, for example, Southwest Airlines. So the specific nature of those particular organizations is to reduce the waste or streamline their processes so that they have so that they can have lower waste, and then they can maximize the efficiencies. Let's talk about differentiation at this time. So differentiation means that you are basically trying to be different from your competitor in some way. So differentiation basically talks about value creation. Differentiation talks about how your product or your service is different from others. So for example, at this time we are talking about innovation. At this time we are talking about the features of different products and services. There should be some kind of differentiated feature of an organization that basically somehow differentiate that particular organization, say A, from its competitor, like from B and C. So what that thing basically looks like. So once the organization is basically competing on the basis of differentiation, it basically emphasizes creativity, it emphasizes innovation. Customer will have multiple choices in terms of selecting the products or services. At the moment, for example, one of the companies or the organization that is basically competing on the basis of differentiation would be Apple. So what does this mean for HR, or what is the implication of differentiation strategy for HR specifically? It means that designing compensation systems that rewards creativity, having some kind of differentiated feature into an organizational product and service, and then rewarding that particular employee or set of employees that are involved in some kind of bringing up some kind of differentiated feature into the product and service. If we just have or see the difference between the implication of HR in the cost leadership strategy or the value differentiated strategy, we can see that in terms of cost differentiation or the cost leadership, this compensation is basically designed to reward the efficiency. However, for differentiation strategy, compensations are basically designed to reward creativity. So that's how the organizational structure needs to be aligned in terms of HR, so that they have some kind of collaboration or alignment or equalness with the organizational strategy. Let's talk about the four main functions that are basically involved in human resource management function. So most of the text talks about four major functions, that is staffing, training and development, motivation and maintenance. So human resource management is basically responsible for staffing, for training and development, for motivation and for maintenance. In other words, human resource management is responsible for hiring people, preparing them, stimulating them, and keeping them in some way. So now we have to think all of those functions, the basic HR functions, in terms of strategical human resource. So what we are saying at this time, that the organization should make effort, that organizational strategy should be aligned with human resources strategy in some way, like human resource management function or strategic human resource management uh, should somehow give voice or somehow take directions from the organizational strategy while designing all those functions. First, the staffing. Staffing basically talks about that how human resource management, human resource planning can be strategic in nature. So it means that matching the prospect skills to the company's strategic needs. So for example, if somehow organization is competing on cost leadership, a human resource management function should should address that cost leadership function in each and every plan or strategy that they will make for staffing. Similarly is the recruitment. So it should use accurate job description to obtain an appropriate pool of applicants. Selection should be strategic in nature as well. So for example, it means thinning out the pool of applicants to find the best choice. In all the staffing function or the other functions that we have seen, like human resource planning or recruitment or selection, the key word would be alignment with the organizational strategy. Similar is the role for training and development unit in the organization. So training and development on the bigger umbrella talks about the orientation and socializing, employee training, employee development, organizational development, and career development. So all those aspects of organization that comes under the umbrella of training and development should align with the strategy of overall strategy of the organization. So for example, we have seen that in the cost leadership example, we talked about the cross training or cross departmental training. So if the organization is gearing towards the cost leadership, organization should train their employees in a cross training manner. So organizations should train their employees in cross departmental skills so that one employee can be used or can be useful for different departments at the same time. The goal here is to have a competent, well adapted employees, and the well adapted or the competent employees in terms of aligning the training and development function of particular organization to the strategical objective or the strategy of that particular organization. The third important component or the function of human resource is to motivate their employees, is to help their employees so that they should be stimulated in some way that they can stay in that particular organization. There are several theories and job design that can help organization to motivate their employees in some way. So for example, in terms of job designing, environment should be used so that the well-constructed job factor would be there. For example, the performance appraisals should be based on performance management. So the employees should know why the appraisals are basically rewarding them or punishing them in some way. So the standard for each employee, the performance management system should provide some kind of feedback to the employees in terms of understanding that what is the mistake that particular employees has made in the past, or what are the good things that those employees are engaged in for the period of that particular performance management system. At the same time, rewards and compensation should be designed in a way that they must link with the performance in some way. Employee benefits should coordinate with the pay for performance plan. So if we just looked all those things, these are the elements that can help employees to become motivated towards their organization. Once they are motivated towards their organization, once they are motivated towards the job, there is an ample evidence in the literature that they stay in that particular organization for a number of years. In terms of theories and job design, so there are several theories that are basically used or that provide some kind of theoretical component or theoretical underpinning to motivate the employees of that particular organization. So here I mentioned several theories, for example, 4 theories that provide some kind of theoretical underpinnings in terms of motivating the employees of any organization. So for example, let's talk about Maslow's need of hierarchy. So Maslow's need hierarchical theory talks about that once the employees' needs are basically are hierarchical in nature. So once one set of needs are basically fulfilled, employees basically move towards the next hierarchy to so that in terms of fulfilling that needs. Similarly, expectancy theory talks about what is being expected from the employees, or what employees basically expected from the organization. At the same time, Herzberg two-factor theory talks about the job satisfaction factor or the job dissatisfaction factor. Goal setting theory talks about how employees behave once the goal is basically set up for them. I will just touch briefly on those aspects of the theoretical components of the motivation. For the more detailed version of it, I'll just please see my video that talks about the motivation and the motivational theory in detail. So for the purpose of this session, I'm just touching the base for Maslow's need hierarchy theory and the others theories as well. So Maslow's need hierarchy theory talks about psychological safety and security, esteem and self-actualization need of the individuals, or for the organization's sake we can call them an employees. So Maslow's talks about once the physiological needs of an employee fulfilled, they basically moves to the next hierarchy, and that is about safety and security. Once that particular hierarchy is being fulfilled, the needs of that particular hierarchy has been fulfilled, they move toward another hierarchical structure, that is esteem of particular employees, and then there's a concept of self-actualization. Similarly, expectancy theory talks about that how employees will perform their behaviors. It talks about that most of the people will perform behaviors that they perceive will bring valued outcomes. So for example, if I know that after performing that particular behavior, if I'm being rewarded, then for that purpose, that particular behavior will be repeated in the future. At the same time, Herzberg two-factor theories talk about the hygiene factors of the motivators. It states that the hygiene factors are the one that cannot basically create job satisfaction. However, they helped in terms of removing some of the factors that can be related to job dissatisfaction. However, at the same time, motivators are the factor that basically creates job satisfaction. So for example, there are some factors that employees are being motivated to in terms of creating a job satisfaction. So for example, cash can be one of the hygiene factors that not necessarily create job satisfaction, but definitely helps in removing job dissatisfaction. So financial component in any organization may help in removing job satisfaction, but not necessarily create job satisfaction. So this theory basically encompasses everything in that aspect. At the same time, goal setting theory talks about that how important the goals are in the lifespan of organization or in the lifespan of employees. Once employees see that the goals have been set for them, they try to achieve those goals. So goals can be used as a motivator or as a mobilizer for employees' effort. It is also said that specific, difficult, and accepted, and the employees accepted goals are basically leads to higher performance. So for example, first of all, the literature talks about the SMART goals, in which we talk about the specific, measurable, attainable goals. So the goals should be attainable, should be realistic in nature, should be timely bound. So the goals should be SMART in nature first of all, and the goals should be specific in nature so that the employees know that what to do to achieve these goals, or what are the processes that they can use to achieve those goals. So job design talks about how the job should be designed, how are the tasks of any particular job should be arranged in some manner that it gives some kind of motivation to the employees. So the task have some kind of scope that is fulfilled, some kind of responsibilities in any particular job. Job containing factors, job should contain factors that generate the feelingness of responsibility, that somehow create the feeling of responsibility, that somehow they create the feeling of meaningfulness. Once the employees had the scenario that this particular job is making me responsible, or I'm responsible for doing that particular job, that is somehow accumulating in the bigger picture for that particular organization. Also that job is somehow meaningful, so that it is meaningful in terms of getting organizational goals. They are much more motivated towards doing that particular job. So job design should look at several dimensions while being designed, and the important dimension in those would be the responsibilities, the generating the feeling of responsibilities, and the meaningfulness of doing job. As we already mentioned about that, how theories and job design can help in terms of motivating the employees. A particular example that I've already quoted is about the financial component of an organization. So for example, a cash or the financial component of any particular organization may help in terms of removing the factors that can relate to job dissatisfaction, but those factors not necessarily create job satisfaction. So you have to understand, or the one organization needs to understand the factor that helps in terms of creating motivation, motivational aspects of their employees. That can be done via job design, that can be done through job analysis, that can be done through rewards and compensation, that can be done through via performance appraisals and employee benefits. And the theories that we described earlier are basically provide some kind of theoretical underpinning in terms of understanding that how employees can be motivated. Maintenance is also one of the important factor or the function of a human resource management. So motivation will, so maintenance is, talks about all the activities that HRM concerned with maintaining employees' commitment and loyalty to the organization. Employees' organizational commitment is one of the fundamental function or aspect that organization is basically wishing for. So once employees organizational commitment is being created, there is a lot of chance that employee will stay in that organization. So employees organizational commitment and loyalty is some of the factors that employer basically wish to create in their employees. So there are several programs or the structures that can help in providing all those factors. So for example, there should be, it has been said that there should be some kind of good communication programs, so that it create information for employees. So the HRM programs designed to provide information to the employees. So HRM programs should have some kind of communication mechanism so that information should be reached to the employees at large, whether that information is about the training and development activities, whether that information is regarding the recruiting activities, selection activities, career development activities, socialization activities, or the compensation and benefits activities. So all those kinds of activities should be somehow communicated to the employees so that they should became motivated, they should become organizational committed, and they should somehow being loyal towards their organization. I hope that this particular session will help you in understanding that the strategical component of human resource management, and the key in terms of understanding the strategic HRM would be how those functions, how those 4 functions can help in getting can help in getting the strategical competitive advantage to the organization. Thank you very much.